I lost my best friend in military. In battle, yes. I was the one who had to carry his body, and it was very difficult to give the news to his wife and his mom. I remember she fell so many times that her hands started bleeding.
Hey guys, welcome to the Rational Optimization Podcast. My guest today is Amirali Rezazadeh, and we had a really interesting conversation. He's the person with the most interesting and crazy life I've ever met. He was a motocross race driver. He was in the military. He was a classical musician. Now he's studying global management of social issues. He can fly a helicopter with like 2 rotors and like he built a passive income by the age of 25. I think he had his passive income already like by the age of 20 or something, but now he lives on a passive income he built himself, which is totally crazy. And yeah, it was really interesting. I mainly interviewed him about his life, but we also talked about religion. We also talked about depression. We also talked about morals, and of course, the topic of this podcast. We also talked about his specific goals. Yeah, as I said, it was really interesting. It went really deep, especially the part about the military. I highly recommend listening to this. I really enjoyed talking to him. Enjoy.
I love research, and I think it's always going to be part of my endeavor to bring research to general public, because one of the biggest criticisms that I have towards academia is that there is this huge gap between the research and the public, and then a lot of academic papers are written in such difficult languages that even students, like even bachelor students, master students, sometimes struggle to read them. And I think that's not good, because I want to produce knowledge. I want to do research in order to help people, in order to make improvement within the society. And I'm hoping to make this gap closer. And I always gonna do research, and I always gonna talk about research.
What do you study again?
I study global management of social issues.
Global management of social issues.
Yes.
What is this? Like,
It's a very interesting interdisciplinary study. I think the core aspect of it are the wicked problem courses.
okay, what does it mean? We can.
Wicked problem courses, yeah, I also mentioned it in the debate that we had in the digression talk. These are the problems that basically are not solvable.
Okay. Wait, you have explained. I don't understand. You study, and on the weekends you have problem courses.
No, wicked problems, not weekend.
Okay. wicked.
Wicked problems. Yes,
Okay.
maybe I misspoke. Sorry.
I didn't understand right. Okay, the wicked problem courses. What does it mean? Like, give an example.
Yeah, these are the courses that focus on the societal problems that are not solvable, like poverty, immigration. Like there is no single solution to say let's find the solution for the poverty. Let's find the solution for immigration. No, the solution does not exist. So what we need to do, we need to find a coping mechanism.
Okay, so it's not unsolvable, but there is no one solution. Like,
It is unsolvable, like because these problems are gonna go on.
you think poverty is unsolvable?
I uh, that's a very difficult question to answer. I would like to think it's solvable, but based on the current situation, I don't think it's solvable.
But even like with new technologies and stuff, that, like, for example, if we build AI and machines that do like most of the work, so nobody like, so we can provide for anyone, for everyone, and for some reason we build a system that also splits for everyone, then poverty would be solved, right? Like,
It's not as It's not as simple as this. Like, I think we can maybe create an AGI that comes up with the knowledge to solve poverty. But as also we talked about it that night, I think we always have the issue of implementation. Like, how are you going to implement that, for example, in Africa, in Middle East, you know? Um,
So how are you gonna spread the benefit? Also, like in capitalism, maybe that like the person that get it is like, oh, now I'm really rich because I have the AGI, and the other people don't get the benefit. Mm. Okay, so in your studies, you learn about those problems.
yes, that's one aspect of it. Like, we have those courses, we have organization studies courses, and we have research method courses.
Okay, why did you? Like, what made you choose this type of study?
Should I go with the long
You
answer or
can
the
you
short
can go
answer?
with a really long answer.
With the real
You can
long
start with your birth if you want.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
I actually, that's insane because I was thinking about the time that I finished military and the time that I arrived in the Netherlands, and I thought it was 3 4 years. But when I checked the dates, I realized it was only 2 years, and the fact that so many things happened in those 2 years, it's unbelievable. I cannot even believe it myself.
How old are you? Just so.
I am 25.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. It starts from November 2018. I just finished military, and I'm a completely different person.
So after high school, you had to go to military. Or-
Yes, because that was the initial plan. Like, after I got depressed, like I was depressed for 2 years.
You were depressed before the military.
Yes,
Or-
I
okay.
was depressed when I was 16 and 17. 2 years of severe depression.
Where did you live in that time?
I lived in Isfahan with my parents.
Isfahan is
Isfahan is the second or third biggest city of Iran.
Iran. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to that time, I was living with my parents. I was severely depressed. I gave up on racing. I gave up on the dream of
For the people listening, Amirali was also a motocross race driver.
motocross racer. Yeah, I raced for
Bro,
8 years.
your life, please just start from the beginning. It's so confusing otherwise. So you were born in Isfahan?
I was
or-
born in Isfahan. Yes.
Okay. And with like 10 years old, you decided to become a race driver.
8 years, I started to loving motocross, and then my
Wait,
parents.
anything
were
important happened before that we have to know?
like, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I started loving motocross and racing when I was 8, and I told my parents that I want to race, and they were like, "No, that's too dangerous." I was like, "No, I want to race," and I was a very rebellious child and very stubborn, so I finally convinced them. And then, yeah, that's how it started, both racing and like falling in love with space and astronomy, because also when I was 8, my mom took me to astronomy class.
Is this connected or just?
Yeah, it is connected because these two grew together,
Mhm.
but I gave up when I got depressed at 16 on both of them.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they were the two main things of my life.
So space and astronomy and
Yeah.
motocross racing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you were a race driver or no, not a like you were a normal child that also did races and also liked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was like, I was a very weird kid. Like, I used to watch. Did you ever watch the Lonely Wolf documentary?
No.
Yeah, it was my favorite thing to watch as a child. Like, I loved it. It was this wolf that would walk for, like, let's say 30 kilometer, 40 kilometer alone, and every 30 minutes the guy would say that this wolf has been walking alone for, let's say, 5 kilometers. That was the whole point of commentator. And the documentary would go on for 2 hours, 3 hours, and then the whole documentary was just this wolf walking alone. Yeah, and that was my favorite thing to watch, and Robin Hood.
Okay.
I only watched these two things when I was kid. These only those two things. I love them, and I watched like every day only these two things. Sorry for saying this. It's
That's
just so funny.
that's interesting. I really liked Robin Hood as well. The Lonely Wolf. I don't know that one, but I can imagine. Okay, so you decide that you want to race motorcycles.
Yes, I loved motocross. It's amazing. It's racing is an amazing feeling. Like yeah, racing is life. I love racing, and I hope to go back to racing one day again. But yeah, I started with motocross, and also I started going to astronomy classes, and then they grew. Like I think when I was 10, I signed my first team. And by the way, it's not a big deal in Iran because like signing in a team in Iran doesn't mean shit because at the end of the day you need to pay for everything. Like my dad almost went bankrupt because of my motocross expenses. Like yeah, we paid everything, but it's not a big deal. So the whole point it was just to get a team in order to be able to race in the league. Yeah,
Okay.
and then yeah, and I signed a team when I was 10, and I was still going to astronomy classes and still going to school. I hated the school. School was hell for me back to Iran. And yeah, I never liked it. I hated it. It was terrible. I never could find a friend in a school.
Mm.
And yeah, it was very lonely to be just, yeah. It was very bad. It was very, a school was like 12 years of a school was purest form of torture for me. Worse than military.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
Uh, yeah, I started and then yeah, I started racing when I was 10, when I signed in a team, and then I was also still going to astronomy classes, but when I was 11, I wanted to learn more about Islam. So for a year I went to Islamic school.
Okay. Is it like a special school where you only learn about Islam, or is
Yes,
it also like the normal subject as well?
it used to be what you described latest, like Islamic school used to be somewhere that people would go and learn about Islam, but also learn about math, physics, astronomy, and all these important topics, logic, philosophy, like the core topics, literature. But then it changed, like after the revolution, after the Islamic Republic revolution, it changed. And also, it only became focused on Islam. We have the normal school, and then we have the Islamic school, which is called Hose. And if you go to Islamic school, you learn about Islamic logic, Islamic philosophy, and Sharia law.
Mm-hmm. So you went there when you were 12,
I was 11.
11.
Yeah, and that's the reason that I am Muslim today. Like, because I met a very interesting person there, and he gave me a very interesting approach to Islam. He gave my it was my Islamic philosophy teacher. That yeah,
So you believe in Allah,
I
like
I don't like that name. Like no
sorry, how should I
no
call
no
it? I
no
don't know.
no 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 no. It's okay. I don't like to name it. I believe in God, in one
In
and
God.
only God. Yes. Like you can name it Allah, or if you are a Jewish person, you can name it Judah, whatever. I believe in one God. Like if Muslims call it Allah, doesn't mean that it's only Allah.
That means that the Christian God could. So believe that it's monotheistic, so only one God,
Only one
not
God.
multiple,
Yes. Yeah.
but the monotheistic, the big, like I think it's the big three religions, right? Like Judaism, Islam, and Christianity.
Yes.
So you believe it's all the same God?
Yes. Yeah, I do believe that. Even though in Christianity you symbolize God, but in Islam and in Judaism you don't.
What do you mean?
Like they symbolize God in Christ, but we don't do that. We don't symbolize God.
You mean in a person?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
don't know if I'm correct though,
no,
because I'm not very educated on Christianity.
I
But
know quite a. If you have a question, because I grew up pretty Christian. Like my parents are super Christian, my
Oh.
whole family, and I was also very Christian till I was like 16.
Do you believe in God?
No.
Okay.
I like when I was 16, I started questioning a lot, and tried to understand. Like it started out with like the rules that are given by God, that are like in the church, that are they are like there are like rules that I didn't understand, and I started questioning those rules, and I'm like, why would God care about like why would God care about like those things? Why would God make like those rules like and this made it really hard for me to keep like believing, and from this I started to question more and more and more and more, and now I would say that I don't say that it's not possible that there is something, but I believe it's really, really unlikely that there is like one God that wants stuff from us, like that is like that has like any expectations, like it is in the big three religions. Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you. That's a very good point, because that's exactly why I stayed Muslim. Because my Islamic philosophy teacher in Islamic school when I was 11 told me that Islamic lessons are divided to three parts: the ethical part, the beliefs, and the Islamic laws or Sharia. And what he said, the idea that he gave me that made me stay Muslim, was that the most important part is the ethical part, and the second most important part is the beliefs. But Sharia law are just set of rules that has been designed for that specific period of time, for that specific society. And actually, he justified it pretty well, because it made sense, because he was a historian. He was a historian, he was graduated from Yale University, and he had done this extensive research on Arab Gulf history. And when he was describing the society that Prophet Muhammad was chosen to be prophet in that time and in that society, all those rules that you see, they make sense. But I personally, the same thing as you said, my biggest question was like, oh, a lot of these rules actually don't make sense right now. Like, they don't make sense. Apologies. They don't make sense. They are not going to work for the modern society that we are living in. And the justification and the perspective that he gave me actually was the thing that made me stay Muslim today.
Okay, so you say the laws are nothing like supernatural given by God. They are for a situation, but it doesn't mean that it's not the definition of the religion. It's not the definition of what you believe in.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. I'm going to piss off a lot of Muslims by saying that, but that's how I think about it. I think they are just rules and regulations that were designed for that specific period of time, for that specific society.
Okay. With this definition, I would be much closer and also believing in God. I still don't believe in God because I started to question a lot, and I think I will also make an episode on the arguments I found. I will dive deeper into it, but I have like quite a few arguments that are like uh, that speak against the existence of like a God like this.
Yeah. I'm waiting for that episode.
Yeah. I like this topic because like a lot of my friends are really, really Christian, and I see that they are like all in, and it's super cool, and I think it's really beautiful. Like they are super happy with it, and I'm not uh, like I don't think it's bad. Like not at all. I know like they live a life that's probably like ethically and stuff. It's like probably much better than most of the people because they have like an anchor in their life, and for them it's like a lot of love. It's just love, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And So I don't judge it, but like my goal is I try to be as rational as possible. Like try to I try to get as close as truth as I can possibly get.
Yeah.
And like in the moment, my arguments are strongly against believing in God, and that's why I don't believe.
Oh, perfect.
Why do you believe in God?
Why do I believe in God? Okay. I do believe in God because when I was in the darkest moments of my life, like when I was in military and I couldn't talk to anyone, I was not even able to talk to my parents, and there was absolutely nothing. There was pure loneliness, and it was after I lost my best friend. Um, there were super dark moments, super lonely moments that I was under so much pressure that at some point I started talking to the cockroaches in my kitchen, like that point of loneliness. You are that miserable. And the only thing that was there was God, was my belief and faith in God that there is someone there watching you. I can still talk to God. And I do believe in God because I I am madly in love with science and I see the mystery in word and I think there is a very
You see the mystery in what?
in the word.
In the word, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
see the mystery and I was like, there has to be a creator behind this. And yeah, also I think what my faith was one of the most important aspects that kept me going through the most difficult experiences of my life and the darkest moments that I had.
Hmm, interesting. So maybe before we go deeper into this, I will probably ask a few more questions about this. Um, you were a race driver for a few
Yes.
years. You were
Yeah.
also really into astronomy.
Astronomy and aerospace in general. Like, yeah, at some point I got more practical, more than theoretical. Like, there was this another person that I was a very good friend with him. So we basically started building water rockets, like those rockets that work with water. Their fuel is water.
Water.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How does this work?
It's very simple, actually. Like anyone in home, they actually can make it with simply two soda bottles. It's the most simple thing ever. You put water and then you pipe it and then you release the water and then it goes up. It's super
Okay,
simple.
so it's pressure.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So we started with like building these water rockets in our garden with just fucking bottles. Sorry for using bad words. And then at some point there we were like, oh, let's go to a competition because there were competitions. And so we started like actually focusing on the aerodynamic, studying the aerodynamic, studying the aerospace engineering behind it, and try to make the rocket not with bottles and with actually like pipes and I don't know how it's called in English, like plastic materials. So yeah, we started building our unique water rocket. We competed against like 20, 25 other teams back to that time. We got the second place. So yeah, that was very nice. And then that was the point that I was like, oh, aerospace engineering is actually fun. So I started reading about it. And also I kept reading about astronomy and astrophysics. And I was always good with math. Also, my dad also took me to robotic classes. So that also helped to get more in touch with the engineering part rather than the theoretical part.
Yes. Okay. So those two things, and
Those two things and also working. Like I also liked working because I knew that I always knew since I was a kid, I always knew I want to explore. So I always wanted to work and be able to create a passive income at some point for myself because I love exploring. I look at life as a journey and I don't want to commit to one thing. I want to explore.
So you started to try to build a passive income when you were like 12 or
Yeah,
like
that there's a picture of me painting my store, and the thing that you paint the wall with, I don't know its name in English, is
yeah.
tall. It's taller than me because I was like this height or something.
You had your own store.
I had my own store at 12,
Oh,
yeah.
bro, what did you sell?
I sold TVs.
TVs when you were 12 years old.
Yeah, that was I was the first business interaction that I had. I bought 20 TVs from my dad and I sold
Okay.
it.
And this worked. Like you made money?
This worked like this worked. I got my own store. I built up the business. I was able to grow the business, and then at some point I was able to do bigger things like other than TVs and stuff. And then back to that time, it was I was living with my parents, so I had no expenses. Whatever I made, I just saved. I simply
Nice.
saved or invested in the business, or invested in racing or engineering. So yeah, that was it. And but basically, all these things, like I'm racing, I'm also reading extensively on astronomy. I'm also working. Like I had no life basically. I had no friends, no life, and I my whole life was these things. Yeah.
Okay. Crazy. So you,
I
yeah,
wouldn't recommend it. Don't do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in this age, I don't know. Like, but it sounds pretty cool. Like it sounds a little bit romantic if you hear it. Like if you tell it to me, it's like
Yeah.
wow, you already had your first store
Yeah, I
like
loved
when
it.
you were 12. And if you loved it, then it's fine. Why don't you?
Yeah, I love that. I don't recommend it because it requires a lot of sacrifices, and I don't know if everyone can take that or willing to do that. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. I didn't have teenager period. Like I like when my niece talks to me, I'm absolutely useless because I cannot relate to her for a second. You know, I absolutely have no idea how a teenager thinks, what a teenager does, because that period of life was completely scrapped from my life. So I think it's good to go through every period of your life. So when you talk to your kid or your niece, in my case, because I don't want to reproduce, if you have a niece or nephew, so you can relate, you can give them some suggestions. I'm useless. Like I cannot wait till she turns 18 because that's where I shine, you know. But now that she's 11, I'm useless. I'm absolutely useless.
Yeah. Oh, you don't want to have children?
No, no, no.
Why?
Hell no. Oh boy. Okay. First of all, personal reasons. Like, I have the best parents. Like, they tried their best to give me the best. Like, they always tried their best. They gave it all. And but I still went through a lot. And by a lot, I really mean it. Like, it was a lot. Like, especially the times that I served. And even though that they really tried their best to provide the best condition, also even though that they tried to provide the best condition, they also created some traumatic experiences. So that's the personal part. I don't want to do that. Like I don't want to give trauma to anyone, and also I don't think I have enough strength to see my kid to go through the same thing that I went, because like I literally saw my mom, like she got 10 years older only in 2 years when I was serving, because it was very difficult. It was very difficult on me, and it was very difficult on my parents. And yeah, and also I don't know, I'm a very optimistic person, but when it comes to the situation of the world, I'm a bit like, oh, where are we going with the environment? How are we going to manage the immigration crisis in 50 years? And yeah, how is it gonna, and also with the things that happens, you know, like these are the questions that I constantly ask, that oh, do we have the, why the word, why the politic word is like that, why, for example, we don't have enough international strength and international system to stop Russia or stop the conflict that is happening between Palestine and Israel. And also, you see the difference between the reactions when, for example, something happens in Europe and something happens in Middle East. So all these things, the personal reasons, like the subjective aspects of my life and the objective ones that come from not my life, they all make me to not want to reproduce.
Hmm. Interesting. We may I may want to debate you on that because
Please do. Mark
why
does.
yeah, he does.
Yeah,
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 I
yeah. Mark
understand.
challenges me on the topic of having children, and he has solid arguments. I have been thinking about them. So please add to them.
Yeah, like first, like you are afraid of making mistakes when you have children. Like,
Yeah.
like how there's never been any children in the world where the parents were like perfect,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like you can. Would that mean like, do you want other people to have children?
Oh,
Like,
that's none of my business.
that's not okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I
The
decide
right
for me.
answer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's,
No, 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 that's how I actually believe.
yeah.
You know, like if my brothers want to have children, like that's amazing. My brothers have children. I love my nephew and my nieces, and I try to be the best uncle as I can. You know, and if my friends are to have children, I highly support it. And I am a godfather right now for some of my friends' children, and I would love to be godfather to more children. You know, I do my best. You know, like any kind of help, helping with the care, financially, anything. I would love that, but it's not something that I want to do. But I don't believe. I strongly don't believe others shouldn't do it because what I'm having, the opinion that I'm having, is just a personal dilemma, and it's a very subjective situation.
Okay. In that case, actually, I think I understand why you don't want to have children, and I maybe even agree a little bit. Like I understand. I understand. I'm not. I don't have like a clear opinion on if I want to have children or not. I know it's so deep in our biology, you know. And I
Yeah, yeah.
think it can give you a lot of purpose. It can make you
Yeah.
really like.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
absolutely beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Like when I see a dad and a kid outside, like the dad is trying to teach the kid how to cycle, like that's the most beautiful thing to me. That's the ultimate level of pleasure. But yeah.
okay. Hmm. So w- then you become depressed when you were
Yes.
16.
Yes, I became depressed when I was 16. Should I say why or should we move on?
If you don't want to talk about it, it's fine.
No, no,
But
no. I
if
love
you,
talking about it.
then
Yeah.
please, I
I
want to.
actually started talking about it 2 years ago because I thought it might be helpful for others, and actually, I received very positive feedback. So now I'm very open to talk about it.
Nice, please.
Yes, the reason that I got depressed, it was like I was raised amongst intellectuals, mostly leftists, and yeah, there was this view very dominated in my surrounding that the world is a bad place, the system is bad, and there is nothing that we can do for the system, and there is no way that we can change the world. So, for a kid that always wanted to make some improvements and help the world and make some changes, that was pretty hard to hear. That, oh, no matter what you do, you cannot do shit. The system is horrible. We cannot change it. And yep. So I came up with the realization that, oh, this world is a bad place. There is no way that I can contribute. And that put me in a very depressive mood. And also, I was struggling a lot with the school. And also, I was struggling a lot in relationship with my father. Um, and all these things uh, got together and put me into depression. And I got severely depressed. I would only sleep and cry. I wouldn't leave the bed. I gave up on racing after winning national championships. I gave up on dreaming of becoming an aerospace engineer. And I also gave up on my business. Like I stopped going to school. I stopped going to my store. I stopped racing. I stopped reading. I would just sleep and cry for 2 years. But
For
somewhere
two
in for
years,
2 years, yeah.
bro, you was like up and down those two years, or was literally like
No, there was up and downs, but most of it was like that. At some point, I found classical music. Like I found classical music, and then the only thing I would do was playing piano, in addition to crying and sleeping.
okay, damn, yeah,
Yeah. Also, my parents also tried to took me to therapist, getting help. Nothing worked. Nothing worked, and I was just. But the only thing that was keeping me going was classical music and playing piano. That's where it started, me trying to pursue classical music. One day when I'm 17, a few months before turning 18, I wake up and I'm like, this shit has to end. Like, I cannot live like that anymore. Like, I'm miserable. I've never been like that in my life, and I never want to be like this in my life. So, what I did, I called a truck.
a truck.
A truck.
What kind of truck?
A moving truck.
Mm-hmm.
I called the moving truck, and I called two guys that were like people that knew how to uh, carry pianos, because it's very difficult. Like,
Yeah.
piano is very heavy. So I put my piano on back of a truck. I just pack my clothes, and then I moved to Tehran, because we used to have an apartment in Tehran as well, the capital of Iran. And I never forget that moment that my mom was just in the stairs, speechless, and was crying. It's one of the most touching moments of my life. But that was the best decision of my life. Like, so far, I
She
think
was crying because she was sad,
she was
or
crying because I was leaving out of nowhere.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And I was like, Mom, you know it's the only way. I'm leaving. Like, because I got depressed and my relationship with my dad got even worse. Like, it was already on a very bad stage. And when I got depressed, it got even worse. So I put my piano, my clothes, back of a truck. I moved to Tehran, and that was the best decision of my life, because that's where I met my spiritual father, the man who absolutely rocked my world and gave me new perspectives. And that's where I started believing in micro societies and small steps. And, just it's enough if you are a good friend, if you are a good son, if you can only uh, change one person, if you can influence positively one person, that's enough, and you're good to go.
So you had a big mindset shift when you came there. Tell me about your godfather. You already told me about it. It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
tell.
Uh, a spiritual father is a concept in a Middle Eastern culture. Like, in Islamic culture, there's a saying that you have three fathers: your biological father, your father in law, because he allowed you to marry his daughter, and a spiritual father. A spiritual father is kind of like mentor, but way more impactful and stronger impact than what we call just a mentor. So, yeah, I think, and his name is Karen Kehani. He's one of the best contemporary composers ever. If you like contemporary music, I highly recommend you to look him up.
Classical?
Yeah,
Or
classical
yeah.
contemporary music. So I started going to Tehran. I had also started playing Fagott in addition to piano. So I was improving very nicely, and I started taking music lessons, music theory and music history. And that's how I met him. He was first my music history teacher. And he saw that I was damaged as hell. And he was like, yeah, this boy needs some change of mindset. And yeah, and then he started talking to me, and he started talking to me about the importance of micro societies that I think I overlooked for most of my life. That how important it is to be a good friend, how important it is to be a good son. And yeah, you might not be able to change the world, but you can make these small changes. And yeah, now that's my the foundation of my mindset. Like, I'm bothered by what's happening in Ukraine. I'm bothered by what's happening between Israel and Palestine. I'm bothered by what's happening in Taliban. But I have no power to do anything about it. I still care, but I don't let it stop me from doing what I can. What I can is to be a good friend. What I can to be a good teacher. I taught 5 tutorials last block. I tried to give it all, because that's all I can do for now. And I think that mindset was the most helpful thing, and that was the thing that literally saved me from depression and getting me back to life and functioning again.
So basically, the mindset that it's not about saving the world, it's about doing the best you can in your situation, making small impacts, and like, is this the mindset? Is this
Yeah,
or
but, don't give up on saving the world.
yeah?
Like, I think that's you need to try to increase your leverage, as the beautiful conversation that we had last week. Uh, you need to try to increase your leverage. Look, I love education. Let's can I talk, I would like to say it with an
Please,
example.
yeah.
I'm obsessed with education. Like, education is my obsession. I love education. I will always want to be involved with education. But I have a lot of criticisms towards education. Like, I don't like the academic environment the way that it is now. But I
Why?
uh,
Sorry.
that's a huge
Okay,
conversation
okay.
for itself.
You could keep your story. Sorry.
But yeah, in general, I don't like a lot of teaching methods. I also don't like the gap that is between the research and the practical world, like in summary. But we can do another
Yeah,
episode on
yeah,
that. Maybe.
yeah.
I know you have more interesting guests, but
Uh,
maybe we can do another episode on that. Anyhow, I don't have enough power to change the whole academia. I don't. Like, that's very simple. What I can do, what I could do, for example, last block, to teach those 5 tutorials in a way that I thought it was the best, the most interactive way. And even in those tutorials, my power was very limited because I had to cover certain topics, I had to take certain approaches. But based on the power that I had, I tried my best. But I'm not gonna be satisfied with that. I'm trying, that's why I want to stay in academia. I'm trying to, at some point, be a course coordinator and then hopefully be able to design my own course in a way that I think it's the best. But even in that situation, I'm still facing limitations because of the bureaucratic system of academia, and there are still criteria that I need to meet. And then hopefully someday maybe I become head of a department or become academic director. I'm not going to be satisfied with any of these. I'll never be satisfied with any of these. But I will be content with it because that's what I can do at that moment. And it's going to give me the sense of fulfillment. But I'm not going to be satisfied. I'm always going to go for more.
okay, I feel you 100%. This is a way of thinking. I have it really deep inside me. I really worked on internalizing this. It's like I have a little bit of a different definition. Like for me, it's the sentence: if you can't change nothing about it, or if you can't change anything about it, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like things you can't, like, literally about this moment where I'm in here right now, I can't change nothing about it. It's like, it's fine. Like, I don't have to worry about if this is like the right moment. The only thing I can think about is my next steps. Like,
Yeah.
the only things I that like matter are the things you can do from now on. Like, everything that led up to this moment is, it is what it is. All the power you have, it's all the power you have. You shouldn't
Yeah.
just thinking like, oh, I wish I would have done this differently. Like,
Yeah.
you
And
can't.
it
Yeah,
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that you don't care.
yeah,
Like, it doesn't mean that you and I, for example, don't care about what's happening in Ukraine. We do care, but we don't have enough power to do any intervention.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe I have to think about it more. I try to really, like for me the sentence literally is, if I can't change nothing about it, it doesn't matter. That means that I don't want to be. I have to think about it because, as you say now, like, what does it mean for example, for the people in Ukraine? Because, like, what does this imply? Like, I didn't think about this in this, like, from
Mm.
this point, because of course I want them to be better,
Yeah.
but it's, as you say, it's not in my power, but it would be in my power to go there and help them. Like, I have a friend that is, I don't know if he's in Ukraine right now, but maybe he's in Ukraine right now. Like, on the areas where, like, near the area where they fight, and he's like a medic helping the people that live there. Like, not the soldiers, but like the people that live in those areas. And so he's doing something to help them. I could
Yeah.
do something to help them as well. So, but I can't, like, if I say this, okay, when I go to Ukraine, why am I not in Israel or Palestine
Yeah.
helping the people, or like, or why am I not in Africa helping the people that, I don't
Yeah.
know, need, yeah.
It's also about the degree of contribution, you know? Like, to what extent can you contribute to that problem? You know, to what extent you and I are going to be useful, for example, let's say in Congo, rather than being here and doing what we are doing right now. I think that also matters. But yeah, that's also one of the dilemmas that I face at least once a week, that should I leave everything and just go and work in like poor areas, or like go and provide medical health. That's one of my constant dilemmas.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay, but what you learn from your spiritual father
Yeah.
is that you just, how do you call it, micro,
Micro societies. Yeah.
or what is a micro society? Is it like actually something else in a society, or is it just
No,
like
no, no.
your,
Like, micro society is your family, is your friends, and yeah. And honestly, like, also during the time of being in the world of business, I realized how important it is, because like I always did the recruiting myself. I never trusted anyone to be recruiter for my own business and the family business. I always did the recruiting myself. So one of the questions that I would ask, and people were way more honest than I expected. One of the questions that I would ask was, how do you describe your role in your friend group, in your family? How's your relationship with your best friend? And yeah, and also you would see it afterwards, even in the business world, that they would carry the same characteristics. Because I think often, I used to tell this to my best friend all the time, that I think people often separates different parts of their lives, like, oh, I'm like that in my professional life, I'm like that in my love life, but they kind of overlook that, oh, all of these are your life, and when you are developing a characteristic in one, you carry it to others as well.
okay. So you, about your spiritual teacher, he was just like, this is, he was taking you like under his cover, you were talking to him a lot, and
Yeah.
he taught you this,
Yep.
and then you started to go into business because you were in business as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no. I started going to business in very young ages, but I was always in business
okay.
except the 2 years of depression.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So after you moved, you started a business again.
Again, yes.
Also a
yes.
store or
Sorry?
a store as well? Or
No, I rented out the stores, and I was just dealing like selling, buying and selling electronic stuff, and then at some point we were also able to import some products from other countries, so it was good. And then at some point I made like significant amount of income that I was able to invest on a project that now I'm living by passive income of that project.
ooh,
Yeah.
what project do you want to talk about? It?
I was just we built a small mall in Isfahan, and then we rented out the stores.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn. So you live on passive income.
Yeah, I do live on passive income
Bro,
currently.
you're 25.
I have no
Respect.
active income currently.
Yeah. Damn, with 25, this is really strong. Respect, man.
Elon Musk made $170 million when he was 25,
Yeah.
so it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, you shouldn't. Maybe you shouldn't compare yourself to Elon Musk. I don't know. Maybe you should. Still, like you're way above average.
Thank you. No, I think, yeah, I think it's really not a difficult and complex task. I think it's really doable to create a passive income, and I always knew I had to, because I always knew that I want to explore and I want to have the freedom. And I think financial stability is something that really modifies your free will and really gives you a lot of freedom. And also, I don't do work that is not in line with my values. At any moment that I realize that I don't like my boss or the work that we are not doing, I don't relate to the journey, I don't relate to the mission, I simply say bye.
So when you were teaching, for example, it was just for because you wanted to teach, not
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the money
yeah,
or
yeah.
anything.
Because I love teaching, and when I tutor people, I don't charge money. Like I tutor statistics for free because I love it and I just like to teach.
Damn, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Um, you say it's easy,
Yeah,
like
it really is. Of course, like I also had privileges. Don't get me wrong. Like I acknowledge my privileges. Like I had an entrepreneur dad, so I was raised with the business mindset, and thanks to him, I had an amazing network. Like probably if I wanted to make that network on myself, it would have added several years to my achievements. So I should also mention the privileges that I had.
still, yeah, still impressive.
Thank you.
So after living in the capital for a while,
For a while.
yeah,
For
you
for yeah, for I lived in Tehran for 2 years, and then I was sent to military.
so it was not
Less than 2 years.
it was not your choice. It was like you have to.
Yeah, it's an obligation because I wanted to study classical music, and the plan was to go to military, get your passport, because if you don't serve, no passport. Uh,
Damn.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So the plan was go military, get your passport, and go study classical music somewhere in the West.
Okay. So you went to military.
I went to
Mm.
military. I was divided into special forces. Uh, I cannot go to details on that part for the legal reasons, but basically, like a lot of things happened. I lost my best friend in military.
In battle.
In battle, yes. And it was 1 week before his son was going to be born. Yeah. And sorry if I get emotional. I'm trying to control myself, but um, it was. I remember clearly that we were sitting in a tent and we're having such a happy moment. And he told me that he's going to name his son after me. And he wants me to be the godfather of his son. And yeah. And then the day after, he got shot. Yeah. and it was really difficult for me to go back to Tehran. It was really I was the one who had to carry his body, and it was also very difficult to go back to Tehran and give the news to his wife and his mom. I remember his mom, like she fell so many times that her hands started bleeding. So that was that. And and then yeah, you cannot go through experience like that and not change. So sorry for making it
No, please.
the fact that I can talk about it very freely now, it's because grief is just pure beauty. It's beautiful thing. It still means that it's just the unexpressed love. I heard it somewhere. And yeah, and honestly, that's why I try to have happy, joyful moments with people that I love, because that was one of the things that really helped me to get over that situation. Because I was like, hell yeah, one night that we had, the last night that we had, we were happy, we were dancing, we were laughing, and that was one thing that helped me a lot. And also that was one thing that made me realize that, oh, we say that we don't know when is the last goodbye, but we actually don't know when is the last goodbye. So make every moment a special. So that's why, like, I'm like, okay, we have a disagreement, but if I have a disagreement with my mom or with my dad now, it doesn't matter. At the end of the call, video call, or if I'm with them, I love you, it doesn't matter. We hug, we kiss, because in Iran, you also kiss on the cheeks. By kissing, don't mean like I don't mean, just to clarify. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's such a good lesson to learn. It was a
Mhm.
bit in a harsh way, but it was an amazing lesson to learn. And then after that, I was transformed from special forces, and then I just went to the office board and I started working in the human resource department as a
Of military.
recruiter.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So you had to do 2 years
yeah.
or
21 months
21 months.
to be
Okay.
precise. Yeah,
Okay. So you get your passport.
yeah.
You are free, like
Freedom.
free free from military. Um, and then what? What?
Yeah, that was the point to go get your passport and go study somewhere classical music, because the music universities were not really good in Iran. So, and also, like, I think in Iran back to that time, only, if I'm not mistaken, 4 or 5 people used to play Fagott. So I also didn't have a
In the
proper
whole
teacher
country.
in the whole country.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know how many is now. I'm actually curious to know how many people play Fagott right now in Iran. But back to that time, it was only five, 5 or 6, most 6. But yeah, at least I knew only 4 or 5 people. But I finished military November 2018. I have gone through a lot. I'm a completely different person. I'm changed. Like my values are changed. I'm just not anything like when I was 19 and I went to military. And I'm super confused about life. Also, my health is fucked because I was having constant panic attacks and seizures. And yeah, I've also, my heart was in a very bad situation. So there was this question in my head that, okay, you might actually not have many years in ahead of you. So how are you going to use the time that you have? So that was something. Also, I was just questioning everything, meaning of life, why, how can I help? How can I make improvements? Is the classical music the right way to help? Is it the best way to use the qualities that I have? Because I always knew that I'm good at public speaking, I'm good at negotiating, I'm good at dealing with people. And I was wondering that if classical music is the best use of all these qualities. I was also a bit worried because I was away from the classical music industry for 2 years. Basically, I had no performance when I was in military, and I really felt that I'm behind, and there is no way that I can make it to the auditions for the school or these things like that. But then that problem was solved very quickly because then I got accepted into a master class with Paolo Carlini, one of the best teachers and best Fagott players of all time. And it's a very rare combination to be a good player and a good teacher. Like, it's very rare. But Paolo Carlini is one of the few. And I had the blessing to be his student for 2 weeks in Livorno. And then
2 weeks.
2 weeks,
Okay.
yeah, in Livorno. And then he was like, there is a seat available in Milan Youth Orchestra. Apply for it. I was like, no way in hell. Like, I'm not gonna get that seat. Do you know who is applying for that seat? Who are the people applying for it? I was like, doesn't matter. Worst come to worst, you don't get it. Just apply. And I'll write you a recommendation letter. I was like, okay, well, like if you say so. And even to be his student, you have to audition. Like it was not just, oh, you go on the website, you go to Paolo Carni's masterclass. No, you had to audition, you had to send the video, and if the video would get approved, you had to do an online audition. So when he says something, like he only accepts few students for his masterclass. I was like, do that. Go for the Milan Youth Orchestra. And I'm happy I did that. It happened to be one of the best experiences of my life.
So you got accepted.
Yeah, I got, unbelievably, I got accepted. And then I was like, okay, I'm not bad. Maybe if I could make it to Paolo Carlini's masterclass and Milan Youth Orchestra, maybe I can also make it to the schools. So I start applying. In music, is like you really don't care about the university. You care about the teacher because that's the most important thing. You go find the professor who's teaching Fagott, for example, if you play Fagott. And then you see if you like their style, if you like their sound of their playing. And if you do, then you go and choose that professor and as a result that university. So I applied, I got accepted in Boston Conservatory. While I'm doing this, like applying, going to US Embassy, uh, a lot of things are happening in Iran. Government killed 1,500 people in 3 days. Uh, Only like innocent people, just protesting people on the street because they were protesting because of the inflation and the depreciation of our currency. And the government simply killed 1,500 people in 3 days. And then a couple of months later, they shot the commercial airplane, the Ukrainian airplane. And all these things are happening when I'm applying for conservatories. So I go to the US Embassy, I come back, I get rejected. Because they said, oh, you served in the special forces, we cannot let you in our country. I was like, fair enough. Okay, don't let me in, that's okay. And it was very difficult. It was a very difficult month for me to accept that because I really invested a lot, like time wise, money wise, I invested a lot. And afterwards, I was like, maybe that was a wake up call. Maybe that was a wake up call to reconsider my career path. By the way, all the respect to all my musician friends, these are just personal experiences. I don't mean to disrespect or disregard anyone's career. I have a lot of good musician friends. I have a lot of respect for them. My spiritual father is a classical music, is a contemporary music composer. So don't get me wrong. These are just personal experiences and the personal dilemmas that you go through. Yeah, this is very personal. So I was like, as I said, I knew I was good at public speaking, presentation, negotiating. I was like, maybe I should go and study international law or something related to social sciences. Maybe in that way I can help the society to be better. And back to that time, I still believed in international law and international systems like UN. I lost that belief like a couple of years ago, but back to that time, I strongly believed. I really believed that as an international lawyer, maybe you can do something. So I started looking for political science degrees, law degrees in United Kingdom, in Canada. And Netherlands was never any of my options. So one day we go to hiking with one of my dad's best friends, and he brings his son, and his son back to that time was studying in Groningen University. And he tells me that, how's your immigration process is going? How's applying going? I'm like, yeah, I've been looking up. I have applied for Canada, for UK. And he's like, why not Netherlands? I'm like, oh, actually never thought about it. And he's like, good universities, English, and tuition fee is more affordable than UK or Canada. I was like, okay, that's good option. Let's consider it. So I started looking up universities in the Netherlands, and the two programs that I liked the most was here global law and global management of social issues. They didn't accept me in global law because they said you only have studied physics and mathematics in your high school, so you don't have enough humanities and social sciences background. They didn't accept me directly for global management as well. They said, we accept you conditionally. You need to go to Amsterdam to Holland ISC, which was a private international school, do a foundation year, and then we can let you in. So, sorry, it took us more than 1 hour to get here. But yeah, that's basically everything that happened that led me to be here.
Okay, that's a really interesting story. When maybe this is yeah, I want to ask this question. So when you started to apply, oh no, when you went to military, did you
Yeah.
already had like your passive income,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, already before military?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I already had, I think, one or two stores that I was renting them.
Okay, but like the thing with the mall and stuff, this happened
Happened
after.
after
This
military, yeah.
happened after, and
When
but
I was in the Netherlands, actually.
okay,
Yeah, yeah.
so even so you still are you still conducting business from here?
No,
Like
I don't. I retired myself last year. I have no executive roles whatsoever. I'm a full-time student, happily,
roughly.
because it was really difficult to be a full-time student and also do business, and also because of the time difference, and also in Iran, the weekend is Thursday and Friday, and Saturday and Sunday are the busiest days. So I was like, okay, let's take a step back, and I was kind of tired. I was like, okay, it's good time to take a step back, have no executive role.
Okay, and uh, about this business
Yeah,
thing, you decided like you went all the hires. You did all the hires.
I did all the recruiting. I
Oh,
never trusted anyone to evaluate the person who's going to come to our company.
okay, and your companies were mainly electric,
Electronic devices, yes.
okay. So
Like
you
microwaves, washing machines, and at some point we were the main distributor of Samsung in Isfahan.
of what?
Main distributor of Samsung
Samsung.
in
Yeah, yeah,
Isfahan. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so you had like multiple stores, and this is what you did. You started with the one store when
Yeah,
you
yeah,
were
I
like,
started. I started with no store, 20 TVs back of the garage, like in our yard, and that's how one thing led to another. I worked for my dad as just a secretary for 2 years,
what kind
1 year
of
and a half.
what does your dad have for a store or a shop or
Oh, Samsung
business?
is still, yeah,
Samsung.
electronic devices as well. Yeah,
Okay.
same thing, same
Yeah.
thing. So I worked for my dad. I worked as a salesperson. I worked as his secretary. Uh, I loved selling. I loved interacting with people. It was super nice. You would learn a lot. And yeah, when with the salary that he gave me, I could save. I saved all of it because had no expenses. I was living with my parents, no rent, no money for food. So I saved all of it, and then I bought 20 TVs with all the money I saved, and I started selling those TVs.
And from that, you slowly build up,
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah. Slowly one thing led to another, more TVs, and then I added refrigerators. I started buying and selling refrigerators, and then I would, for example, sell in a lower price to get more customers, be able to compete with the older ones in the business. So, yeah, and then I was able to buy my first store with installments because I pre-bought it because there was this mall that before it was built they started pre-selling the stores, so you could pay in very small installments. So that was very good for me, and that's how I bought my first store.
so you didn't rent your first store, you bought it.
No, I
Like,
bought it. Yeah, yeah.
okay.
It took, God knows, 2 years and a half, 3 years to pay the installments.
How old were you when you had your first store?
12.
Wait, so you started to
I
sell,
started paying the installments when I was 10 with all my salary.
so you already were, damn, you already were selling TVs when you were 10,
Yeah, yeah, 11.
11.
When I was
Okay.
10, I was still working for my dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bro, this is so
Well, I had
crazy.
no expenses, so
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just paid the
yeah.
installments.
Of course, but none of
Yeah.
us like had expensive when we were 12. I didn't have expensive when I was 12 as well, but I didn't have my
No,
own.
I just really loved working. Like my
Yeah.
parents were against it, like because it's really not common in Iran that people start working before 18.
Yeah.
So my parents were really against it, and they were like, "What do you need that we haven't provided?" I was like, "No, it's not about that. I just want to work. I just like to work. I want to make my own money." And yeah, and they disagreed a lot, but as I said, I was very stubborn. I got my own way anyway.
Okay. That's a little bit crazy that you, but I understand it still was a trade off with like your adolescence
Yeah, yeah.
that
Expensive trade-off.
yeah.
Like I had no friends. I had no personal life. The only friends were the people that I was in contact with them in racing. And also that was part of me hating school because I never learned how to talk to people in my age. I was trained to talk to people older than me. So I absolutely had no idea how to talk to my classmates. As a result, I ended up being just weird, isolated, and the abnormal kid.
Okay. You said that as a lawyer, you can't change anything in the
No,
world,
no, no, I don't mean you can't change
or
anything.
that you lost the belief that lawyers
Yeah.
really change something.
No, I lost my belief in international law.
What do you mean by that?
Um, I deeply believed that international law could do something. But I think now, with having the evidence of what's happening in Ukraine, what's happening between Palestine and Israel, what's happening in Congo, what's happening in Afghanistan, we can simply say that, okay, what exactly is international law doing? Are we going to see a day that Putin is going to be prosecuted? I hardly think so. So, uh,
Okay, so international lawyers would.
look, don't get me wrong. Sorry to
Yeah,
disturb you.
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I don't mean that you cannot do anything as an international lawyer. I just lost my faith in international law as a system.
The system of international law would be to punish people that do like international crimes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Also, more important than punishing is stopping it. Like, I, I just want to not see innocent people being killed. Like, I don't like that.
I think many people agree with
Yeah,
you. I
yeah, yeah.
agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah. I just, it absolutely hurts me deeply when I see what's happening in Ukraine, when I see what's happening in Palestine. And also the other side, like when Hamas attacked Israel, I was hurt because it doesn't matter who is being killed. I just don't like seeing innocent people being killed. I don't care your race. I don't care what's your race. I don't care what's your religion. I just don't want any children, any women, any innocent people getting killed.
Yeah. And before you lost your faith in international law,
Yeah.
you thought as an international lawyer you could have an impact on stopping
Yeah.
things like this,
Yeah, exactly.
but now you don't believe in it anymore.
No, I think it's evident. Like it's not even the matter of my and I see it amongst my friends as well. Like I have these friends that we used to strongly believe in UN, in these international organizations or super governmental organizations and international law, but they all also share the same feeling as I have. You know, they also lost the faith in UN, they lost the faith in international law. So maybe I'm being dramatic, and I'm 100% sure you can still have a positive impact as an international lawyer or as a lawyer in general. But I lost the faith in international law personally.
Okay. There's one question. It's like the main question of my podcast. And it was my podcast is mainly about. It's about goals. So
Yeah.
tell me what are your goals in life?
What are my goals in life? I look at life as a journey. Like as I told you, I want to explore. Like I don't want to be the best statistician, or I don't want to be uh yeah, I that's not me. I want to explore. I For now I'm loving the statistics. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Um and I love teaching statistics because I think a lot of statistic teachers don't take a very fun approach to statistics, so a lot of students end up resenting stats. So I want to change that. Um, I love stats. I love studying stats, and I love teaching. I know as a fact I always want to be involved with education, no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing, no matter what I'm specializing in. I want to be involved with education in any possible way, either teaching or research. Um, I would like to have these in my life constantly, teaching and research. And I would like to also be part of the improvement of education system. But I also want to explore. Like now, I'm having fun with the stats. I want to do my master's in stats as well. I but I don't know if after stats I want to stay in stats for a few years or not, or go do something else. I want to add. I want to. My main goal is to show individuals and work with individuals and show them their potential, because I genuinely believe that individuals are limitless. I would like to be someone who's there for individuals, because I think that's what we are lacking. I think a lot of people has not received encouragement enough their lives, has not received unconditional love and support. So I want to be there. I want to be accessible. Like that's something that I value that a lot of people around me don't. I don't like to be selective or uh, how to say it, mysterious or closed off. I want to be accessible. I want people to be able to approach me and ask me for help. And I want to be there for people as long as they are also willing to put the work, because helping is a team sport. Like, and they are their captain. I'm just how to say it, accelerator,
Yeah.
facilitator, but they are the captain, and I cannot do shit if they are not doing their part. But I would love to be there if they are doing their part, and I give it all, and I just want to help them to achieve their potential and be the best that they describe, because everyone describes the best version of themselves differently. I want individuals to be the best version in a way that they're defined it themselves. So that's my passion. That's what I'm living. But I'm also selfish. I want to explore statistics for a few years for now. Maybe afterwards, another thing, 1 or 2 years, I want to go back to racing and race go karts. I told you last week as well. So I have my selfish reasons, and I'm still selfish, and I still want to enjoy, and I still want to do the things that I love. But I also want to give something back to the society.
Mm. So exploring for you doesn't mean, like, for many people I think exploring means to go to like crazy places, like traveling. Like when you said
Mm,
exploring first, I thought like, okay, I want to like see the world
mm.
and do like the most crazy things, but it also, exploring is for you also like intellectual.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you might see me in 7 years and ask me, what are you studying? And I say quantum physics or religious. I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, I would like to explore the world in that sense that you described as well, and travel and see people, see different places, do bungee jumps. Uh, but I also want to explore different disciplines. Yeah, for sure. At some point I want to study. It's one of my dreams to just rent a cabin for 3 years and just go somewhere without internet, no connection, and just sit and read philosophy, and just for 3 years read philosophy.
I love this dream.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah,
such a, yeah.
yeah. Just read and listen to philosophical podcasts and read philosophy. It's a dream for me to start from the classics, like from the Republic of Plato, to all the way to, let's say, Descartes, and then contemporary philosophers that we have now. So yeah, I would love that. I would like to also. It's also one of my dreams to study pure mathematics, just focus on pure mathematics. That's why I'm trying to find a way to live a long, healthy life, because I would like to be 60 and sharp so I can do all this.
Bro, I sub- I am so in with your mission. Like this fascination, I love it.
Yeah.
It's,
Please
bro, if
stay in
if I
contact
had,
with me.
yeah, yeah, if I had the opportunity, like to, if the day had so many hours, I would study everything that this
Yeah.
university has to give. Like I, there's literally no subject that I would not study.
Yeah.
Like learning is like the coolest thing that you can do. I love it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I
like,
love learning. I'm
yeah,
addicted to it. And my mom always says, like, she says that Amirali never will be bored because I have a wide range of interests. I think the only thing that I'm not interested in is medicine. I don't like the medical word, and yeah, just I don't like seeing blood and cutting people off. But yeah, I have a lot of interests. And I'm like you, if I could take, honestly, if I was rich enough to do two more bachelors, I would do it. I would swear to God do it. But yeah, it's quite expensive, and I'm not that rich to be able to continue paying this tuition fee.
true. You have to pay like 10K a year or
Yeah, yeah,
something.
9,000 euros.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
It's not you. Yeah, that's expensive.
yeah, yeah.
Still, it's cheaper than.
Yeah, it's still way cheaper
Uh,
than UK or Canada
yeah,
or United States.
yeah.
But yeah, I love learning. I love learning. So that's why I've been researching on health and longevity to see how I can help my brain, how I can stay sharp and healthy. Especially like after 25, your IQ starts decreasing. So I've been looking for the ways to prevent that.
We can work together on this because same. I'm also working on
Please,
this.
please, I would love that.
um. So why do you study in university? Because you do you do it for the degree?
I do it because I want to do PhD. I want to stay in academia. I want to be able to, as I said, I want to be able to change some things as much as I can in the dimensions that I'm able to. Because I really don't like the way that academia is right now. And I don't think we are teaching the students in the best way and the most efficient way. And also, like, there is this mindset kind of dominated here, that I've been hearing it from the colleagues, that students, like, when someone comes to university, they are responsible for their motivation, and like the teacher has not much of a responsibility, and I highly disagree with that. I don't disagree with the part that students are responsible for their motivation. I think they are. Like, that's the 80%. Like, you cannot deny that students are the majority of the equation. But I think the teachers have a very significant role as well. And I don't think a lot of teachers are doing a good job in academia. I have had a lot of good professors and teachers here. I'm not gonna deny that. But I think we can have more.
Yeah. Like the thing you said about if you were rich, you would just do 5 bachelors.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
But do you think, because I think if I were rich, I would do no bachelor and just learn this by myself, because I don't think that this is the best way
Yeah,
to learn many things.
I agree with you. But I like academic experience because it's nice. You meet amazing people. That's how I met you.
Okay.
That's how I
Yeah.
met Mark.
Yeah.
That's how I met like Reika and Jacques. And these are like some of the most intelligent and most intellectual people that you can find. And they all are absolutely brilliant. And my dad told me, he was like, you go to university, please don't lock yourself up in the library. Go out, talk to people. You're going to learn from people way more than the classes. And he was absolutely right.
Yeah. Okay. In this case, I fully agree. Like,
Yeah.
already coming here paid off, not for the study stuff I learned, but for the people I
Yeah,
met.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is a different level. You're right. Um.
Also, I like discussions, and there are lecturers. I should actually say that as an appreciation. I really like the culture here that you can easily disagree with the lecturer. Like, there has been moments that I have had heated, like really heated conversations in the middle of a lecture with my lecturer, and afterwards we shaked hands and we're like, yeah, like that was just a disagreement. And I really appreciate that. I really appreciate this freedom that is given to me as a student to be able to express my opinion freely.
Yeah. So coming back to your goals, you
Yep.
have like 2 main goals. The first one is to explore, and this
Yep.
means exploring in the widest sense. So not only like the thing that one may think, exploring in the sense of I go bungee jumping and then I go to, I don't know, a different country and see like crazy waterfalls or something, but also intellectual
Yeah,
exploration. Like,
that's the part that is more important for me. Not that
yeah.
I don't love traveling, I love traveling, but I, by exploration, I mostly mean intellectual. And there are fields that I definitely want to study, including philosophy and mathematics.
Okay, beautiful subjects. I would love to study both of them as well.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
please, let's do that.
yeah. I don't know if I want to study them in academia, but this podcast is my try to study no, not psychology, but to study philosophy. This
Oh,
podcast is I want to. This is one of the parts I'm planning to read all the books, and I
yeah.
want to make podcasts about it, about making like reading a book, and it's not the same as a summary. I'm not gonna be the one that gives the summary. There are like apps for this. I have like
Yeah.
Blinkist and stuff. It's really good, but um, making discussions about books and uh, yeah, like looking what you can distill out of them. And yeah, this is one of the reasons I do the podcast. Yeah,
I'm waiting for that.
yeah. And the other goal is that you want to show individuals their potential, that you want
Yeah.
to help individuals to become the best version of themselves that they believe is the best version of
Yeah,
themselves.
exactly.
So basically, is your goal to have a positive impact on, yeah, to have a positive impact, and this is like your way of doing it,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
okay,
coming from a collectivist culture, I do believe in individuals a lot, and I do believe.
What do you mean? You believe in individuals. What does this mean?
I think individuals are very important because we are these Lego pieces of the society, and Nietzsche says that the difference between nations is the difference between their great men. And by men, I think like not to be sexist means people. Yeah.
The difference between nations is between their great men.
Yeah.
What does this mean?
Like a nation becomes more successful. I don't know if I'm quoting him actually correctly or not, but that's the idea that yeah, the great people of a nation are the ones who make that nation great. And I would like to live in a society with more great individuals.
So you want to help people to become great, basically.
In a way that they define it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
want to define the way that great is determined. I just want to be some. Look, it's a difference between fostering and creating. You know, I don't want to create an individual like a Lego. I want to foster them like you foster a planet. You just water it, you take care of it, and then it grows. So you just give encouragement, you just show support, show love, uh, give help in any way that is possible, and then they create themselves on their own with your help and your support.
Mm. So I, I'm I'm asking this question about goals to very many people. Like in my podcast, I think maybe it were like maybe 15 people till
Yeah.
now, and many of them have like it's super interesting because the goals are really similar but also different. Like
Mhm.
actually, you can sum up nearly everyone's goals, like not everyone's, but most of the people's goals, in two things. And the first one is to be happy, and the
Mhm.
second one is to make a positive impact. And
Yeah.
it's pretty similar. Like yours are like this as well, but they are different. You know, like the first one, to be happy, is to explore,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the
I'm
one.
already happy,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't
Now,
know.
like if I say a goal is to be happy, this
Ah,
doesn't
yeah.
mean that you want to be like jumping around happy all the time.
No,
Like it
no,
also
no,
doesn't mean
that
that
was
you're not
just a cocky
happy. Yeah,
statement.
yeah.
Sorry.
It also doesn't mean that you are not happy right now, but it
Yeah.
just means that like some people call it they want to experience, other people call it they want to be content, other people
Yeah.
call it other people call it they want to enjoy, other people call
Yeah.
it uh, they want to be fulfilled. And
Yeah.
it's like nearly no one calls happiness. I'm the one that says that puts into the happiness bucket,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's just a bucket and it's just why I call the bucket. And the second one is to have a positive impact. You you are not really, you don't really have strong like dogmas in what is right and wrong. If
Oh.
I'm, because what you say, you want to foster people in their own way
Yeah.
of being of becoming great in what they define as great.
Yeah.
What if their definition of great doesn't fit yours?
What do you mean by feeding mine? I'm a bit.
Mm,
You mean the way that they define great is not in line with my values? For example,
yeah,
is that what you mean?
yeah, yeah.
It depends. Look, we have, I think, something called morale that for example, let's go with the most obvious example. Racism is bad. That's a morale. That's not an opinion, you know? Like you and I can have different opinions on the approach to how to tackle the problem of racism. That's the matter of opinion. But we can only and only have this debate if we agree on the foundation that racism is bad and shouldn't be in a society. So that's the part that we are talking about morale. If we are talking about someone who, for example, is pro racism and is saying that, oh, we need to have discrimination in society, of course, I'm not going to be part of that. I'm not going to be part of that journey, and I'm not going to help that to foster, you know? So I think we have the morale, the foundations that we all share, you know? For example, me and my friends who study sociology share the foundation that there has to be equality of opportunities. Like, I deeply believe that there has to be equality of opportunities. So when we agree on that, the same way as racism, we can sit and actually have a conversation whether socialism is a way to get there or capitalism is a way to get there. But it's very important. It's something that I have realized that we overlook it most of the times, that in every debate, there has to be a foundation agreed on so we can actually continue the debate. So I think it's the same way in this situation, that there are basic morals and foundations that, like, I think I have same, even though that me and my friends are incredibly different, like different opinions. Like, a lot of my friends are atheists or different religions or completely different views on life. But we share foundations. So I do believe that I have to share foundations. I have to share those basic morals with those people, but I don't necessarily want them to become, for example, socialist or capitalist. That's something on their own. Like, that's something that also my dad did to me. He was like, I don't want you to become Muslim because I am Muslim. I highly encourage you to go research. And he also introduced some books, but he was like, you don't like this? Go do your own research and then choose this religion because you choose it, not because your parents are Muslims, you know? And yeah, I think that's the way that I would like to be there for individuals that I would have the privilege and honor to help them.
What are those underlying morals that you think you want to agree on?
One of them, I said equality of
Yeah.
opportunities. Like, I absolutely believe there should be equality of opportunities. Like, equality of individuals. Like, I don't want to work with someone who believes certain group of people have superiority. Uh, I look at people as individuals. Like, when I see someone, I don't care about their religious, their sexual orientation, their gender, their race. None of them. I look at them as an individual. Are you what are you? How do you define yourself? Are you a good person as an individual, regardless all those uh, group memberships that you have? So I would like to see these things with people that I work with. Like, believing in equality of individuals is very important to me.
Okay.
And
And
respect, like
yeah.
respect, having a minimum respect for people.
Mhm. Nice.
Also, I think something that is important to me is having an open mind. You know, are you willing to learn? Because that's something that not a lot of people are willing to learn. Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to use these knowledge and these experiences?
So it's one, having believing in equality
Yep.
and not like setting someone above someone else by default.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
th- that doesn't imply outcome equality, right? Like, you, if two people put in different kind of work, like if two people start at the same place
Yeah.
and put in different kind of work, you don't say they have to get like the same
No, no,
outcome.
no.
Like, yeah.
If you want to work 70 hours a week, I think you deserve to earn more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And
And if I want to work 40 hours a week, I deserve to earn less. Like, you sacrificing your free time, I'm sacrificing that money. Let's say this is a hypothetical situation that you and I are absolutely the same, coming from absolutely same conditions. If you are willing to sacrifice your free time for more money, and I'm willing to sacrifice more money for having more free time, so be it. You deserve that money.
Okay.
And I
That-
deserve my freedom.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
deserve, sorry, my free time.
yeah, yeah. In that case, I'm I fully agree with this one. The second one was that you believe that you want people to be open to
Yeah.
learn new
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
things.
I
Um,
don't like people when they are not willing to listen. I have a huge respect for people who are open and actually go and listen to other sides. Like, I think that's something that social media has been doing to us, that we get caught up with like-minded people. So I for example, I do that all the time when I research on a topic. Um, I always go and research first the idea that is the opposite of my initial idea, because I want to listen to the other side.
that's interesting. Yeah. Do you use social media?
I do. I quit Instagram, but then my mom was like, "I want to send you reels," so I have an Instagram right now, which is only with 20 people, only 20 people that I want to be in contact with them. So I'm trying to keep it small and cozy.
Okay, but the other stuff, like you don't, you only use it to stay in contact. Not you don't watch content of like people you don't know.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
Not a lot. Not a lot. Like, I mostly use it because my mom sent me reels, or my
Yeah.
friends sends me reels, or to Formula One news. Yeah, that's
Okay.
also another use of
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Um, I've one more thing I want to ask you about. This is
Oh,
Mark.
also,
Hmm?
one value that I believe, sorry to
Oh
interrupt,
no, please.
I highly believe in kindness. I think kindness is the most important thing for me. And when I was 5 or 6, I told my mom that I want to be able to destroy people physically and verbally, but choose to be kind, because I don't want my kindness be as a result of weakness. And she said this to me 2 years ago. I was like, how could you come up with this statement? And you're a kid. Like, I don't know. They're like, yeah, you freaked the hell out of me, man. I was just like, I'm sorry, mom. But yeah. But yeah, I believe in kindness. But I also believe that you should make yourself super competent. So your kindness is not as a result of weakness, is a choice. So if people that I'm working with don't believe in kindness, I'm out.
What exactly do you mean by kindness?
Kindness, treating others right, not being egoistic, not being arrogant. Be kind, be humble, um, treat people right, have an open gesture, open mind, and a smile. Like, have warm, nice social interactions. I try to do that. I highly believe in kindness and treating people right, treating people with respect, and don't attach to values to people based on their position on the hierarchy. I hate that. I absolutely hate that. And I think you should be kind to everyone. It doesn't matter who you are talking to, you should be kind to everyone. Unless the people that lose your respect, which is a very tiny percentage. But yeah. Sorry, it just came to my
No, no,
mind
no.
that it was
You
very.
have other. I think it's really interesting. You have other like moral principles that you want to share.
The most important one is kindness,
Yeah.
a minimum respect for everyone. But if someone wants more respect is earned, of course, like, but a minimum respect for individuals, absolutely. Um, but I think the most important for me is kindness
Okay.
and not being arrogant. Like, be humble, always keep it low.
Okay. Why? Sorry.
By the way, by being humble, it's good to discuss about this. Can I?
Yeah.
Thank you. It's one of my favorite topics. Actually, I last summer I researched on this, on the topic of confidence. I don't mean not to be confident. Actually, be confident. If you know what you're good at, be confident. Be cocky about it. Be confident. If you know you're good, if you have enough evidence to support that you're good at something, and you actually believe, like when it comes to teaching, I know I'm good. I know I can do a good job. So I'm confident in myself when it comes to teaching. But being confident is very different with being arrogant. So I think it's important to make this distinction very clear. And being humble is just, even though that you're confident, you're not cocky, you're confident, you're still warm, you still respect people, you still listen to people, you treat them with open mind, you treat them with respect. You're not like, oh, I know better than you, fuck off. No, you listen, you are humble, you're willing to learn all the time. And if someone is actually have a good point, you're willing to consider it. Like, people tell me that, oh, you change your opinion. Of course I do, because I'm constantly uh, I'm constantly receiving good arguments. And if I don't consider those arguments, if I don't think about them, and if they make sense and I don't change my opinion, then I'm horrible. I'm not a thinker. That's as simple as this. Like, it has happened, like, we haven't had the chance to have a lot of talks yet, unfortunately, but I hope we can have in the future. But it has happened with Mark a few times that he has proposed a counter argument to my argument. I think about it for, like, let's say a week, 2 weeks. I read about it, I listen about it, like, he's making sense. And I go back to him and I'm like, dude, you were right. And I absolutely have no problem with going to a person and say, I actually do it because it's good. It's kind of breaks my ego. I do it. I go like, you were right. You were right. Your argument made sense. I agree with you. From now on, I share this vision. So I would like to see this more often. And I would like to be able to, like, you and I had a pretty heated conversation, but afterwards, like, yeah, I would like to see these things more often.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's like, actually, it's like one of the it's one of the core values I have for my life and for the podcast as well, that I want to not have like any prejudice or anything. I don't want to be stuck in any opinion. I want, if there's somebody that has a better argument, I want to radically be open to change my mind. It's like, I don't want to attach myself to any belief. If there's somebody with better arguments, I want to be radically open to change everything. Now to the thing I wanted to ask you.
Oh, sorry. I'm really sorry.
No, bro, don't be sorry. It's interesting. Mark told me something, and this is, it's not so deep anymore, but you're able to fly a big helicopter.
Yes. Yeah, I was, because I lost my license because of my heart conditions, but I went through flying school, PPL, CPL, night rating, instrument rating, and also 2-engine helicopters.
So you can fly those biggest things with the two propellers.
Yeah.
Damn. For the military, was this?
Not much. I went to flying school before military.
Private.
Yeah, private.
Just for fun.
Just for fun. Yeah, I didn't like cars. I don't know how to drive.
You can't drive a car.
I cannot drive a car. No.
Stop.
No, I don't know how to drive a car, and I have never driven a car.
But you can fly a helicopter with 2 rotors.
Yeah, surprisingly, but I don't know how to drive.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't like cars, so I never liked cars. I always liked space and flying and the sky. So I was like, instead of learning how to drive, let's go learn how to fly a helicopter.
It seems less practical.
Yeah, way less practical. Like, it's absolutely waste of money.
Yeah. Damn, that's that's really funny, man. Okay, I really enjoyed talking to you.
So did I.
We will do this again. Today I mainly ask you about your life and learned about who you are, because I was really confused in the beginning. When we met the first time, we went down the street and you kept telling me things, and I was like shocked every 5 meters, because like, oh, you were in the military as well, and you were also a race driver, and you also are like a classical musician, and you're also like the best thing today. I didn't knew about this, so I think this was really interesting. But we will also go into deeper debates, I think.
I would love that.
And yeah, man.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here.
This has been a Rational Optimization podcast. I hope you learned something. See you in the next one.